Can he do it again? Mike Bibby. Bibby stops, pops, there it is! Bibby, the hero, again! A back-to-back nights! Oh, boy!
Back low, stolen by Bibby. Ahead to Martin, to the rim. And the Sacramento Kings have won!
Pull out of stage, look out, blow! Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Kings Court presented by SacKingsNation.com and of course sponsored by BrickHouseIndustries.com. Go to BrickHouseIndustries.com, use the promo code KingsCourt and get a discount on us. Well, guys, if you were here yesterday, we did do a live show yesterday, but for some technical reasons, I don't know what, we couldn't save the show. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, we couldn't save the show. So if you listened live yesterday, you got like a special edition episode of the show. So congrats to you. Now, this show today, I have no special guest. I have no guest with me. It's going to be a solo complete podcast, me, you, everyone in the chat board. So if you guys hear tapping noises or anything like that, it's because I am in the chat board, and I'm really not going to even, operator error, Jordan, Joe Morgan. Yeah, so definitely, so if you hear any like typing, anything like that, it's me, letting everyone, messaging back in the message boards or anything like that. So if any of you guys have any questions at all, of course, feel free to call in at any time. We're still taking your phone calls, 916-273-9777. We can have a personal one-on-one conversation, or of course, you can just keep leaving your questions in the comment section below or in the comment section that we're doing here. So let's start off with the very first news of the day, and that is the Sacramento Kings have now signed, or about to sign, Duje Dukan and Quincy Acy, welcoming the two back. They're not significant signings, I guess. I wouldn't be I'm not too thrilled by either of them. I mean, it's pretty cool that, Acy's coming back. I mean, Acy was a diehard King. Like, he really liked being in Sacramento. I actually got to meet him one time, and I got to talk to him a little bit. And his biggest things was when he was talking to me was just that, he loved being in Sacramento. He thinks the fans are great. Basically everything a NBA player says when they're getting asked about the team that they play for. Wasn't anything special? No, but it was cool. The bigger signing, I guess, out of the two is Duje Dukan. And mainly because after the very first game, I put it out on Twitter, he was the hashtag prospect to watch. I liked him. I thought what he did, just shooting-wise, is cool. I think as a developing player, he can be something that can develop into a stretch four that they want. Now, he's very scrawny for a 6'10 player. Rui Thomas came on. He called him like a Steve Novak type of player. And I see that. I mean, he does just literally go from one end of the corner to the next end of the corner, and he's just probing all the way around the perimeter. Now, is that a player that the Kings are going to use in his lineups? No. I think the bigger thing is what you're going to see is basically just him developing in Reno, developing through training camp, and just basically seeing himself grow. Do I see him getting any minutes? Absolutely not. I don't see him getting any minutes at all. I actually honestly don't even know. I don't know. I have all the details on whether or not he actually is a fully guaranteed contract. I haven't read all that into it yet. What I do know is that or at least what I believe, is that he and James Anderson are going to be battling it out to get that roster spot in training camp. And that's what I feel happens. And after what we've seen, I mean, neither of them really jumped off the page at all. I know James Anderson had that game where he didn't miss a shot. I believe he was like 6 for 6 and things like that. So I mean, if the two of them battling it out, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool for them. I really just feel that now they're just bringing in players that they're just filling out the roster. As for more signings, and this is what I've been seeing a lot of, I think that third point guard position is where it's going to be something to look out for. Because they do have a little bit of money. I mean, they spent a little bit on Luke Mbah-a-Moute, who failed his physical, as everyone knows from when we were talking about it on yesterday's show. And when I'm thinking of it now, the player that I absolutely want, who I keep saying over and over on Twitter, it doesn't seem like a lot of people agree with me. I mean, I got a couple people saying that they don't understand why I want him. Excuse me, and that's Norris Cole. I really like Norris Cole. And I feel that Norris Cole could bring something to this team only because he has defense. He can shoot the three ball. And he is young. And he was on a championship team. I mean, these are all factors that they should be looking at. Now, of course, there's people that are saying, well, what about Andre Miller? And I'm one of those people. What about Andre Miller? I know he wants to play until he's 40. And if you guys hear dogs barking, well, I mean, I have dogs barking in the background because they like to bark at everything that walks and moves. I don't know. Is anything going to happen between it? I really don't think so. I just feel that the way the NBA is transitioning and how it's going on, I just feel like Norris Cole is that player that can come in and be that up-tempo type of guy that really just makes everything out there, better. They grow. They get better. And then, I don't know. I do understand getting the veteran presence, though. The veteran players is worth it. Getting a guy like Andre Miller is worth it. Getting a guy maybe like Prigioni could be worth it. I mean, he has a veteran presence. He was just in the playoffs recently, so he could have that voice. But there's really not a lot out there. The Kings don't have a lot of money. They've spent it all. And you're banking on what's going on between Rondo and Collison and seeing how those two guys work out. And we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Now, I'm going to move on to this, and this is basically what I've been tweeting out all day today, and it's my piece that I put up about Rudy Gay moving down to the 4 spot. I don't know if any of you guys seen it. If you guys haven't seen it, go on to royalpain.com. It's up there. There's a poll going on up there. Let me see what you guys think. Do you think he should be a power forward type of player? Or do you feel that he's well suited for the small forward position? I truly believe that he will be the Kings' starting 4-man come opening night. That's just me personally. Now, why do I see that? I just feel the way that, George Karl plays his offense. It's space and pace. It's really, attack the passing lanes and switch on screens for pick and rolls and things like that. So he constantly wants to keep moving. I think Rudy Gay is going to be that centerpiece type of player, not for the team, but for their definition of positionless basketball. Dare I say it. They are looking at positionless basketball. That's their thing. That's what they want. That's what they go after. So I think Rudy Gay is their positionless basketball type of player, the one who can shift from being their power forward, from being their small forward. And we saw it even last year where he was at times playing the point guard position. So Rudy Gay is going to be the guy to watch because I feel like they're going to have the most quote-unquote fun with him and to see what they're going to do. And I wish I had the podcast up and ready to go from when I had the interview from Rudy Gay that he did earlier this offseason where he was speaking about how, he and Karl and Vlade have all talked about playing at the 4 spot more. And more can mean maybe just a couple minutes here and there. More can mean starting. And we don't know what that means. But we do know that George Karl has said it this offseason. We do know that Rudy has said it this offseason. And we do know that Vlade has said it this offseason. That at some point, we're going to see more of Rudy Gay playing that power forward spot. And this is my preach on it. This is why I think as a starter, it's a good idea. You are paying Rajon Rondo $9.5 million in a 1-year deal. 9.5. Okay, so what does he need to be surrounded by? He needs to be surrounded by shooters. He needs to be surrounded by people that can do things off the ball. Rudy Gay, as your stretch 4, stretches the floor out to where if Rondo does learn how to drive again, we don't know if he learned how to do that yet. I mean, for all we know, he's still going to be timid and going to take jump shots that he can't make. I even posted it in the article. I can beat him in a game of horse, and I guarantee that. I mean, with his shooting percentages. But what Rudy does, he can shoot the 3 ball. He can take it from the mid-range. He can take a player off the dribble. Now, again, I bring up the Rondo thing because what also Rondo does is he's going to look for all these shooters, and who is he going to have around him? He's going to have Rudy now. He's going to have Ben McLemore. He's going to have all of these players that he's going to need to be looking at. What also it does is for DeMarcus Cousins. Now, how long have we been hearing that Cousins needs to have a 4-player there? Cousins needs to have a 4-man. Someone who is going to stretch the floor so he has more room to operate down in the low post. We've been hearing it forever now. So, what does Rudy Gay now become? He becomes that guy that stretches out the floor, who gives more room for Cousins. Now, if he comes to get double teamed, who's open? Could it be Ben McLemore? Could it be Marco Bellinelli? Could it be, dare I say, Rajon Rondo shooting a 3-pointer? We don't want that, but it could happen. So this is where it's coming down to is, well, what about Koufos? What about Willie Cauley-Stein? Well, you don't really want to see Willie Cauley-Stein in that lineup where you're literally just throwing lobs up to him and hoping that, your only outside threats is Ben McLemore and Rudy Gay, your 3 spot. I mean, you need to have at least 3 sharpshooters out there with Rondo. That's my personal thought on it. Now, I had Kyle Robert on yesterday, my fellow writer on royalpain.com. Again, if you didn't hear the podcast yesterday, again, technical difficulties or operating failure was what Joe Morgan posted in the chat board earlier of what happened. I don't know what happened. I mean, we started the show late because of it, and then the episode wouldn't save. But what Kyle said was, what about you start Costa Koufos? I mean, he's a guy who does have a mid-range jumper. He has been in George Karl's offense. He is offensively gifted and defensively can hold his own. Because defensively is where I get all the question marks. Well, what about Rudy Gay? What did he do against power forwards? What do you think about this? What about if he plays against Paul Millsap? What if he plays against a guy like Zach Randolph? Well, I mean, how many of those Zach Randolphs, Paul Millsap still play significant minutes at the 4 spot now? I mean, I don't get me wrong. There are some. Don't get me wrong. There are some. But, I mean, we saw even a little bit here and there where Anthony Davis is being guarded by who else than Rudy Gay. And he actually did fairly well. Watch the games. You can say, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Watch the games. Rudy Gay played decently well when guarding Anthony Davis. And that's why I made that picture of Rudy Gay shooting over Anthony Davis and Rudy Gay also, contesting Anthony Davis' shot, is because when he's playing against the Pelicans and he guards Anthony Davis, he does it pretty well. I still think him against also maybe a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge is not that big of a deal. I think he can guard LaMarcus Aldridge. Height-wise, is there a problem? Yeah, of course there is. Muscle-wise, I don't think he's that bad. I think he does need to grow a little bit. I mean, he's already 230 pounds. But if he comes in weighing in around 245, 250, gains that 15 to 20 pounds over this offseason, why can't he play the 4? He can guard Ryan Anderson. He can guard Draymond Green. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is a player that can do things. He is offensively gifted. So as much as we say, oh, he has a mismatch against these players, well, picture Anthony Davis on Rudy Gay out in the high mid-range or even at 3-point range. Is that not a mismatch as well? And by the way the Kings offense will be running under Karl's offense, Karl's scheme, it's going to be a lot of, space, run up and down, or defensively it's going to be attack the passing lanes, play aggressive defense. And if he's going to have that, he's going to always have, if he's playing the passing lanes, whether that be on the 4, he always has a backup, by the way, as well, in Willie Cauley-Stein, in Boogie Cousins. Boogie Cousins did great defensively last year. Now, is he a great defender? No. But blocking shots, we saw he was committed defensively this year, which we haven't seen before. He was taking charges, he was blocking shots. Now he has a partner in Willie Cauley-Stein. Willie Cauley-Stein showed what he can do defensively during Summer League. If you did not watch one Summer League game, I recommend just going on YouTube, looking it up. You can find highlights. I bet you in probably about a week or two, when Summer League is completely over and the hype of it is over, you will be able to see full games. Guarantee it. So, he now has a partner. DeMarcus does. In Willie Cauley-Stein. So let's say Rudy tries to attack. Tries to strip the ball from Anthony Davis and spins. Then Anthony Davis spins off him. Who's right there? Willie Cauley-Stein. That's what their defense is. It's always about shifting, rotating. You notice that on every screen and basically every pick and roll you've seen, I would say 3 out of 5 times you would see them switch. 3 out of 5 times you see them switch. So if they're switching, regardless of the position you're playing, you're still guarding off of a mismatch. They're going off of rotation in Karl's defensive scheme. So offensively is what you're really looking at anyways, right? So Rudy Gay is going to have that mismatch regardless if, let's say, they are playing the Pelicans and Anthony Davis is on him and they're at three-point range. It is going to be a problem more for the Pelicans than it would be for the Sacramento Kings because of the way the Kings are playing defense. Now, if you completely disagree with me, call on in. Let me know what you guys think. 916-273-9777. If you guys are listening to the YouTube version of it, if you guys are listening on iTunes, if you guys are listening anywhere else, go ahead and leave your guys' comments in the comment section below. We really want to know what you guys are doing and things like that. Let's go ahead and hop onto the comics boards here. It's just Joe. Joe, you are just lighting up the comment board, man. He says, I think 2 to 3 will be interchangeable and 4 to 5 will be interchangeable, but there will still be big little separation. I still think it will be a matchup-driven lineup. Karl will run the way Bushi runs the Giants. I don't really know a lot about baseball to even get that reference. And I am picturing a poster of Willie Trio, Cauley-Stein, and Boogie with the caption being SWAT team. I would not mind that type of poster. If you see Boogie average like a block and a half and Willie Cauley-Stein in about 15 minutes a game, it's kind of what I'm picturing him getting just because Karl doesn't normally like to run his offense, getting a block and a half a game, that would be kind of cool little picture. Or at least like you'd probably see them like do like a dumb little skit in the middle, like you know how they do those dumb little skits in the middle of halftime? I could see them having like a fake siren going off, like, and then they're like in a SWAT team, like fake jacket. I can see him doing dumb stuff like that. And I would not mind that poster. I would not mind it at all. Okay, what else do I have in my show notes here of things that I can talk about? Because I've kind of ran down the 3 main points. If you guys have any topics, feel free. Like I said, call in. I was expecting a little bit more phone calls here. The golf cart, cops car. What if they were at like Hagen Oaks and they were doing that stuff as well? You can just see them like doing like a Hagen Oaks video because you know how Hagen Oaks sponsors KHTK, things like that. If you don't know that, then you don't live in Sacramento. You don't listen to KHTK, the Grant Napier Show, or Carmichael Dave, or anything like that. But regardless. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the next thing I have down in my show notes, and that is who would start, Rondo or Darren Collison. And I've been getting this. I've been seeing it a lot. I saw Akis from Sacktown Royalty kind of post that he had Darren Collison above him, or has Darren Collison above Rondo in their depth charts, and they're in their depth chart. So I don't see that happening as much as a lot of fans, like hardcore fans, saw it. I mean, if you were hardcore from beginning to end through the entire struggle, you saw it. The Kings and Darren Collison, while he was playing, was good. I mean, he played really well this season. He did. He played absolutely very well this season. And, you know, he definitely earned himself a starting role. He earned himself that starting role in Sacramento. I really do truly believe that. And I kind of feel bad for the guy, being the fact that, you know, he was replacing Isaiah Thomas. He was replacing the guy that everyone still wanted to be here, that sixth man that everyone still wanted. And then, you know, he was like, oh, do I get that opportunity? They're like, yes, we're going to give you that opportunity. And then, like, oh, you did a phenomenal job in your games that you played, but we're going to make you go back to being a bench player. Like, go ahead and go back to being the guy you have been. And maybe that's because in his past, you know, he really wasn't that incredible. He really was. I'm not saying his last season was incredible by any standard, but I mean, maybe, you know, because of what he did in his past, not living up to his full expectations, and I don't know what his expectations were. So I mean, I'm kind of going off of his previous numbers, and they weren't that great. And maybe they're seeing that, and they're like, well, Rondo, on the other hand, has I would say the credentials. I mean, he's been a champion. I mean, that leaps and bounds is over anything that Collison did last season, right? I mean, he was an NBA champion. And so, I don't know. And on top of that, you're paying him $9.5 million on a 1-year deal. On 1 year, you're paying him $9.5 million. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So, man, hope he takes this as a push to get better as opposed to an insult. I mean, if he buys into his role, it's definitely something that this team would benefit from just him buying into the role. Like, if he buys into being like a sixth man, like a Jamal Crawford, I mean, he got to see a sixth man of the year being with the Clippers. If he can buy into that, that'd be awesome. Now, of course, there's people out here in Sacramento that believe, well, I mean, Darren Collison could start with Rondo. George Karl keeps saying we're seeing a 2-point guard league now. And defensively, Darren Collison can hold his own. Darren Collison can definitely hold his own. Without a doubt. So, I mean, is it possible? I'm not going to say it's impossible, but do I see it happening? Absolutely not. Man, where else does it come from, though? Because you can't stop the growth of Ben McLemore. If that's the lineup they go with. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop that growth. I'm trying to think if there's any way possible to where you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, Darren Collison starts over Rondo because Rondo, is the type of guy like, well, he's coming off of a stint in Dallas where he was completely embarrassing. But again, you go back to the credentials. You go back to the fact that you're paying him $9.5 million on a 1-year deal, hoping that if he is that player that he can become, the old Boston Rondo. If he can become that guy, man, if he can become that guy, this team is going to be something special. It's all literally with Rondo. We already know what Cousins is. We already know who he is. We already know who Rudy Gay is. We are worried about who Rajon Rondo is. We are worried. And if you're not worried, you should be a little bit. Am I excited? Do I want him here? Of course. I am a huge fan of Rajon Rondo. I can't wait for the very first fake behind the back pass layup. I can't wait for the very first behind the back pass. I can't wait for all of these fancy passes that we're about to see. And I've been saying it over and over on the past, I believe, 2 to 3 podcasts now. This will be the season where you will see the most triple doubles by any Sacramento King. Whether that be from Rajon Rondo, just in the Sacramento Kings franchise, you're going to see multiple triple doubles this season. I'm calling it. I think last year we saw 4? I believe it was 4. It was 4 or 5. I think this year we're going to see closer to 7. That's what I'm pushing for. Is that a franchise high? I don't know. I don't look up that stat. I could if I really wanted to, but I don't want to, and I'm not going to. But what I do know is that this is the year that it happens. Okay, guys, I want to remind everyone that the King's Court is sponsored by BrickHouseIndustries.com. Go to BrickHouseIndustries.com, use the promo code King's Court, and get a discount on us. I also want to remind everyone that we are selling the Sac Kings Nation t-shirt. There are only a few left, so if you haven't got yours yet, be sure to go to SacKingsNation.com. Click on the little tab that says Order My Sac Kings Nation t-shirt and order yours. Like I said in the beginning of the show, we lost our last episode because of the software that we're using, the equipment that we're using. It's usable and it's awesome. We love doing the show, but we want to get better. We want to be one of the best Kings podcasts out there, and the only way we can do that is with your guys' help. So definitely go on SacKingsNation.com, get one of the t-shirts. Just go to Order My Sac Kings Nation t-shirt, and all of the proceeds go to the King's Court and SacKingsNation.com. I also want to let everyone know that if you are interested in covering the Sacramento Kings, we are looking for a couple of writers for SacKingsNation.com. Just get your ideas out there. It's a Sacramento Kings blog. It's basically us talking about what we see. We're trying to build our way up, and the only way we can do it, I keep saying it, is with your guys' help. So I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing for the show. and things like that. So definitely, BrickHouseIndustries.com. Also, I have not shouted them out in a while. Be sure to go to the Quality Shop for quality clothes at a quality price. Be sure to go to the Quality Shop located in downtown Roseville. Wow, was that the longest plug-in I have ever had to do on this show. I'm working on trying to cut it down somewhere, but it got cut down. Rondo, Willie Trio, Cauley-Stein, and Darren Collison are the difference between 6th seed and no playoff spot. I will shoot a quick 500 tonight. Joe Morgan saying he wants to shoot a quick 500 tonight. He's going to want to become a Sac Kings Nation rider. Okay, go back to the original thing you said. Rondo, Willie Trio, Cauley-Stein, and DC are the difference between 6th seed and no playoff spot. No, Willie Trio, Cauley-Stein, I'm not expecting a lot from him. Not in year one. Darren Collison, I believe so, and Rondo, but 6th seed is where you're getting me. I think you meant to put 8th, and I hope you meant to put 9th, because this Kings team is not making the playoffs. I'm not eager enough to say that yet. As much as I want to see Kings basketball from seeing the boring 24-hour fitness basketball games we were watching, Summer League, it's something I can't buy into yet. What has given you the thought to what it can buy in other than hype? We're going off of hype. We're going off of, wow, we just signed Rajon Rondo. Wow, we just signed Costa Koufis. Wow, we just signed Marco Bellinelli. So it's like, what have we seen from them to make us believe that they can do it? Now, maybe when it gets closer to the season, and this is why I'm such a bad Kings fan when I do this show sometimes, is I'm a diehard Kings fan, like no joke, but I'm a realist Kings fan as well. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, there's no way the Kings make the playoffs in year one with how that's going out, with the history that Rajon Rondo is bringing into it. Darren Collison's coming back off of a hip injury that we really don't even know that much about. We just know that he got injured and it was his hip. And I believe someone wrote that it was a hip flexor. But did he have surgery? Like, you guys let me know. Go in the comment section right now. If you're listening, there is a comment section. Join into it. Or it's a chat now room. So just go in there, chat it up. Let me know what you guys think. Joe Morgan is just writing a storm in there. He's fun to talk to. Or, of course, you can call in 916-273-9777. Now, this whole George Karl, DeMarcus Cousins thing is, I think, what's really going to carry it over to the Kings being in 9th or 10th or 8th or 7th or 6th seed. It's so awkward right now. And the only person that you really truly believe in that front office in head of anything. And you have to consider DeMarcus Cousins a type of a head because he is the leader of your team. DeMarcus Cousins has the keys to your franchise. And I'm talking to you, everyone who is listening, whether it be live right now, on the podcast later, on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, great plug-in, right? You guys go subscribe. But I'm talking to all of you guys. DeMarcus Cousins is the head of your team. He has the keys to your franchise. And he does not get along with your head coach. He does not. They do not like each other. And honestly, they do not have to. And that's what they need to realize, and I think that's exactly what Vlade Divac realizes. I mean, this whole scenario will probably be a podcast that this show will do later on in the offseason when there's literally only baseball on, and I'm not a huge baseball fan. But this whole thing, back and forth between DeMarcus and George Karl, is still bad. It is not pretty right now, to quote Vlade Divac on Jim Rome. It's not pretty. And that handshake that you saw in Summer League, to me, felt forced. If you haven't seen the GIF yet, it's hilarious. I'll retweet it out at the end of the show. Basically, it's that scene in the movie Step Brothers where the two Step Brothers, Will Ferrell and the other guy, pretend to hug each other. Or it was actually his real brother in the movie, too. So they try to hug each other, but they really don't like each other, so it's this complete awkward thing. That's exactly what this whole handshake was in Summer League. And being the fact that you got to see DeMarcus Cousins give a huge hug and a huge hello to his previous coach, Coach Michael Malone, and no dap, no love, no nothing for George Karl. And then you kind of see Vlade sitting next to DeMarcus. Then the next day you see Vlade sitting next to George Karl. And it's like, okay, I kind of get this feel that they're literally talking about how, man, you guys need to go say something to each other. You guys need to at least go shake some hands, go say hello to one another, because that kind of just blew up in our faces right there. Like that's kind of a no-no. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys need to kind of start squashing this. The only way you guys can do that is by, becoming mutual respected. Just mutually respect each other. I do not care. The Kings do not care. Vlade does not care. Vivek should not care, but I think he does care, which he shouldn't. If you guys like each other or not. You guys just need to have a mutual respect for one another, knowing the fact that you guys both hold the keys that drives this car that needs to get us to the playoffs. George Karl is a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. He is a phenomenal coach, a former coach of the year. DeMarcus Cousins, as James Ham would put it, has Hall of Fame talent. He does. He has Hall of Fame talent. He surely does. But without the two working together and them still being battle of bands, whatever you want to call it, headbutting each other, showing each other who's got the bigger dick, it's really dumb. It's ridiculous. They need to get over it, because this team needs to start winning games. Especially as us fans, we're going into a new arena. We're going into this new era. This is the best team we have seen since Ron Artest. We want to see wins. How many of you guys are tired of seeing losses? 28 wins? I mean, this new ownership group, I mean, they promised us, hey, when we get into this new arena, we're going to be great. You guys are going to start winning games. We started winning games. Coach Malone's gone. Now we have Jazz Band with Ty Corbin. Now we're with George Karl. You know what I mean? Like, they need to stick with something. And if they're going to stick with George Karl, even though they know the two of their star player and their head coach do not like each other, then they need to grow a mutual respect, and they know it needs to work now. So at least now they're forming an identity, but now they need to get it to work. And if if Vlade knows that it's not going to work, do not be surprised that if during the preseason or anything during training camp you hear something that George Karl is on the rumblings of a buyout. Like, I would not be surprised at that. The Kings are sticking with DeMarcus Cousins regardless. They're sticking with DeMarcus Cousins regardless. 100% guarantee that. So do not be surprised if at some point you do hear George Karl and the Sacramento Kings are working on a buyout. Now, who would be the next head coach? I really do not know. But here's a piece that I kind of want to bring up now. It's a video clip of what happened earlier today of George Karl on NBA TV. It's open court, but it's basically the coach's version of it. So I'm going to play this for you guys real quick. Listen up, and then I want to talk about this as well.
You got to wear different hats. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Sometimes you got to be the good guy. Sometimes you got to be the teacher. Sometimes you got to be the quiet guy sitting in the corner and watching.
So this was him again on NBA TV Open Court talking about roles in the NBA. There are roles as a head coach in the NBA. And I'm gonna go back just like 4 seconds of it, because it's only a 10-second clip. But just listen to the different roles he puts out there.
Sometimes you got to be the good guy. Sometimes you got to be the teacher. Sometimes you got to be the quiet guy sitting in the corner and watching.
That last one. Sometimes you got to be the quiet guy sitting in the corner and just start watching. Is that the position that he's in right now? Because he says you have to know these different ways you need to be in, these different roles you need to be in as a head coach. What role is he in right now? What role is he in? Is he trying to be the bad guy? Because he's not being the good guy. I mean, he's literally came out in the final game. I've never had a coach, or I've never coached a player, that has been untradeable. And of course, I'm paraphrasing. Joe, you say no way Karl leaves. They are grown-ups. I have hated my boss and still excelled. So can Boogie. Once they win a friendship, we'll bloom. But see, that's the thing. You say they need to build a friendship. I don't think they need to build a friendship. They need to build a mutual respect. I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, I sometimes don't like my boss either. I mean, it's, of course, who cares? I'd never like some of my bosses. My boss that I have now at my job, I actually really like her. She's really nice. But other jobs that I've been at, some of my bosses are dicks. And you're right. I've still exceeded at my job. True. Completely believe it. But at the same time, I knew my rank. You know what I mean? They are my boss. With DeMarcus Cousins, if he says that, I don't want to be coached by this guy, he has a little bit of leverage. And I think another reason why that the Kings really don't want to get rid of this pairing of DeMarcus and Karl is because let's say they let go of George Karl. And this is why I didn't say this was going to happen. I say it's a possibility and look out for it. But let's say they do get rid of George Karl. What does that do now to DeMarcus Cousins? It shows now that DeMarcus has control over what happens over everything. Like, he doesn't want George Karl, so he got George Karl gone. Same thing could be said about George Karl. He gets DeMarcus Cousins gone. Well, George Karl makes a lot of the calls. And that's why I think Vlade has really been preaching, and this is why I think he constantly says it, is because this is how it's been looked at, is none of these guys are going to have any control. He's in control of this team, and I love that he's been saying that, but if anything happens between these two guys, of Cousins, of Karl, that one of those guys gets power. And you don't want to give it to either of them. They don't. They don't want to give it to either of them. So, I don't know. I really don't know what it is that has to happen or what's going to happen. All I know is that everything is still, like Vlade said, quote unquote, not pretty. It's not. It's not pretty at all. And you have to leave everything on the table. George Karl could be gone after training camp. DeMarcus Cousins could be traded by trade deadline in February, especially if this team is not good. And I have said that plenty of times. I have said it since the offseason began. And I had Rui on it. When I told him, I was like, and he's like, that's a possible scenario when I gave him this scenario. And if you guys disagree with this scenario because you haven't heard it before and you're a first-time listener to the show, welcome to the show. We are growing as subscribers, so I know there's new listeners, of course. But what if this scenario happens? The Kings come off to a slow start. They start heading into January, and it looks like they are falling into another 28-32 win season. Cousins now asks for a trade. Is that possible? I 100% think that is. I 110% think that is possible. Now, Cousins loves it in Sacramento. He will tell you he loves it in Sacramento. But he also will tell you that he wants to win. He hates losing. He is very competitive. So at some point, he will realize, he will wake up. If this team is not good, you wake up and you realize, my NBA career is never going to be forever. He's about to be 25 this upcoming season. He's 24 right now. So he's going to be like, okay, I'm still rising. I think he has 2 more years of rising before you even see him hit his ceiling. He's at the peak before he starts trending down, before he starts heading towards 30. So, he's going to want to do something, and he's going to want to start winning. And if the Kings don't start showing that they want to start winning, if they're going to start winning, they need to start doing it now. And, man, they're putting a lot of risk on it. And that's probably even another reason why they want this George Karl thing to work. Because, they put their future on the line with this whole Nick Stauskas trade. And I've been a fan of the trade. I understand why they did it. Jason Thompson needed a relief. Carl Landry's contract needed to be gone. Nick Stauskas is now going to get an opportunity, and I feel he's going to be a fantasy player option come next year's fantasy league teams. For anybody who's drafting or looking for a waiver wire pickup, pick up Nick Stauskas. He's the best shooter on that team. But I mean, you give him a swap picks, you get top 10 protected picks away. They put a lot of risk on the line. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't. But I'm excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is kind of coming down as like I'm dooming the Kings, or if it kind of sounds like I'm putting a bad type of vibe towards this Kings offseason. I'm not. The Kings got tremendously better. Their bench, they now have depth on their depth chart. They have depth up and down their roster. If they have a point guard that's out in Rondo, they now have someone who replaces him great with Darren Collison. Now, who's that third point guard going to be? Like I said, I want it to be Norris Cole. It could be David Stockton, maybe Andre Miller. We'll see how that goes. I mean, you go to the 2 spot, you have Ben McLemore and a former champion Marco Bellinelli. I mean, that's awesome. With the 3 spot, you have Rudy Gay, Omri Caspi. Thank God it's not Derek Williams. Did you guys see his hair next to Phil Jackson? Holy hell, what is he doing? You go to the 4 spot, you have Willie Trill. You have Costa Koufis, who plays back and forth. You have, like I said, you have now Rudy or Omri who can play both positions. Like, this positionless basketball thing is becoming real. Quincy Acy is now back. Duje Dukan, I think, is going to float between both forward positions. And then you have Cousins. You have Boogie. And Koufis is going to be manning down the 2 spot as well with Willie Trill. So, I mean, you have variations of players, and this is going to be a fun team to watch, to see what Karl does in certain situations, what lineups he's going to be, flooring out there. And I loved, and I said it on the last pod, and I love it how, Vlade is really forming this team to what he has. Like, he knows that Cousins needs to have, people that can shoot the ball. George Karl also needs to have people that can block shots so that his wing players can go through passing lanes. So he's kind of filling it out in that way. And the comparison that I used was he's trying to be the Larry Bird for the Sacramento Kings. He's being a front office exec while also being the general manager. I mean, that's awesome. And he's doing a great job so far. Hashtag in Vlade we trust. And it looks like we're coming down to the end of the show. So it doesn't look like we're going to have any phone calls, guys. Again, feel free to call in anytime you guys want to. 916-273-9777. We do this show every Sunday. It's probably going to be around the 8 o'clock hours now. It seems like that's when most people are free. So Sundays, 8 o'clock, we are always live. Listen in. Join the chat board. Look, if you're looking to start writing and covering things, be sure to go on SacKingsNation.com. Look for Write For Us. We have the little piece up right now. We're trying to get content up every day, but of course, I have a life. I'm busy. I have a daughter. She's 2. She's growing. I gotta be there for everything. So, but the show is still growing. I'm doing the show every Sunday. I love doing the show. I love having you guys on as guests when you guys do call. I love grabbing guests on and you guys calling and asking them questions, and they love it as well. So, whenever you guys feel free calling in, whether it's about anything, you know what I mean? Kings, I'm a big golf fan, so if you guys wanted to talk golf, then you can come over and talk to me. Baseball, I don't know a whole lot about it until the World Series comes. There's just too many games in a season. Soccer, USA, that's probably the only thing I can tell you. I couldn't even name 3 players on the roster. That's kind of bad, though. But see me in FIFA, I'll kill you. I'm beast in FIFA, any ESPN game, even baseball ESPN games. I'm pretty raw at it. Come see me, add me on PlayStation 3 VM Center. And that's it, guys. I mean, order your Sack Kings Nation t-shirts. Go to BrickHouseIndustries.com. Use the promo code KingsCourt. Get a discount on us. We only have a limited left, though, on these Sack Kings Nation t-shirts. I believe I have maybe 10 left. Sorry, I'm counting right now. So I have 14 left. I have 3 XLs, I have 2 larges, and a ton of mediums and smalls. So, you guys want some, and these XLs, let me tell you right now, they're pretty freaking big, and I'm wearing a large now. So, These XLs are, all these people saying, what about double X? What about anything like that? Well, I'll tell you this. My cousin is right around, I'd say 6'3". He's pretty tall, and the XL is kind of big on him. So, I mean, the sizes fit definitely. So you definitely want to get one. SatKingsNation.com. Order your Sat Kings Nation t-shirts. We have them in black. We have them in purple. Also, go on RoyalPain.com, take the poll. Who do you think, or where position do you think Rudy Gay plays? Whether it be the 3 spot, whether it be the 4 spot. Of course, if you're not a subscriber to the show, hit that subscribe button. If you guys really do like the show, hit that like button for me. It really does help this show out every time you guys hit the like button. Share it with your friends. Make sure people come and subscribe to the show, because the only way we can grow is by more people tagging on the show and getting to know us and getting to know the show more and more and more. And we're continuing to grow. Again, yeah, guys, if you guys want to listen to the show, whether it be live or not, you guys can always go on Mixlr.com. We are now also with Stitcher.com, iTunes where the Kings Court, or you can go on YouTube.com/SatKingsNation, and you'll see all of our episodes there. Subscribe there. Leave your guys' comments in the comment section below. Again, follow me on Twitter. I am at VMCenter. Thank you to SatKingsNation.com and a Royal Pain for letting me write for them as well. And until next time, Sacramento Kings fans, if I'm not forgetting anything, think. Nope, we're good. Yep. So until next time, Sacramento Kings fans, have a great week, and we will be seeing you Sunday live, 8 p.m. Join us while we do our very first Versus episode. That's right, guys. We're bringing it back. Jason Williams versus Mike Bibby. We're bringing it back, guys. Who is the better Sacramento Kings point guard? So again, until next time, Sacramento Kings fans, bye-bye.